All right, are we just gonna go to the next question?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
I mean, I said that. I said that. I don't feel like we're gonna take a break because she's gonna burn out. She already tired, so it's like if we take a break, we don't really have time for that.
well, let's just stop. Cut it. Cut.
Well, you can't focus on something that you avoid,
Well,
and we avoid each
it's not
other.
avoiding. I feel like healing yourself and doing the self work is to have a healthier relationship. That's my opinion.
If there is a marriage, you don't go work on your marriage separately, but you don't separate yourself to work on your marriage.
I
All right, y'all. This is what we're talking about today. Podcast breakups. So it's two sides of this I'm going to discuss. Them and, or I would just say friendships falling apart after being on the podcast. And the second thing is podcast itself, like the business of podcasting. And why do so many friendships and podcasts just fall apart all because of podcasting? So everybody hit the like button, share this video because this is going to be about friendships with men, with women, women and women, men and men, because we've seen the Joe Budden podcast fall apart. We've seen Math Hoffa's podcast break up, and these are male podcasts, right? And they, to this day, whether it's Math Hoffa and Bag Fuel, or either Joe Budden podcast and Rory and Mal, to this day, they're still dissing each other, arguing with each other, going back and forth. And the Joe Budden podcast ended what, 2 years ago? The Math Hoffa podcast ended, I think, 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago. And now, for those who don't know, B. Simone and Megan Ashley has called it quits with their podcast. I think it's called the Need to Know podcast. And since I am presently on a podcast, tonight's conversation, well, we actually travel across the world, not the world, across the country, doing live shows. And I've been on tonight's conversation 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that, right? So I think I'm one of the people that can actually explain the issues that come from or that happen inside of a podcast. So everybody hit the like button, share this video, and of course, as y'all already know, buy my Deeper Discussions card game because when it comes to friendships, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to family members, when it comes to romance, it's important for you to sit down with your best friend. It's important to sit down with the person that you're dating. It's important to sit down with your mama. If you got grown kids, it's important to sit down with them and play this card game with them, especially during the holidays, because everybody's a little bit stressed out to find out what the other person is feeling in the background. And that is exactly why Deeper Discussions is so important to so many people. It's not just about dating, it's about family dynamics. All right. Okay. So here we go. I'm doing this show mainly because I'm on a podcast myself and I can give you a kind of understanding of what keeps happening with all these podcasts. Okay. So, the first side I want to discuss is the podcasting side. And then we're going to go into the emotional side and what exactly is going on with B. Simone and Megan. But let me play this and we're going to break this down first. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Facebook, y'all aren't hitting the like button. So Facebook, hit the like button. Come on now. YouTube, Hit the like button. See, y'all think I can't see how many likes I'm getting. Hit the like button, y'all. So let's break this down. And then we're going to get into the business of podcasting. And then we're going to talk about the emotions of podcasting.
Let's just stop. Cut it. Cut.
Well, you can't focus on something that you avoid.
Well, it's
And
not.
we
It's not.
avoid
It's not avoiding. I feel like healing yourself and doing the self work is to have a healthier relationship. That's
All right. This right here, we're going to talk about what B. Simone is saying and what Meghan is saying, because this is what's crazy. They're literally saying the total opposite things. And it's okay being on a podcast if you two people are opposite people and y'all speak from two opposite sides of the spectrum. What's up, Shira? But in my opinion, these two have presented themselves as somewhat the same people. So if you show up as the same as the other person, and then after a certain amount of time, you realize that y'all are totally different, well, y'all probably may need to play deeper discussions with each other and get an understanding of who y'all are and who y'all are dealing with. Okay. So listen to what this is crazy when she says this. All right, here we go.
It's not avoiding. I feel like healing yourself and doing the self work is to have a healthier relationship. That's my opinion.
If there is a marriage, you don't go work on your marriage separately, but you don't separate yourself to work on your marriage.
Why not? Let me ask y'all a question before we get really deep in this. What is your opinion about that? You're married, right? Or you're in a relationship and y'all live together and therapy is needed. Do you think the first and best protocol is to get therapy together to deal with y'all's issues? Or is it more sensible to get therapy separate to deal with your individual efforts? What do y'all think? Type separate or together. Question is what they just brought up. Do you think getting therapy separately to deal with your separate individual issues, or as a couple or a married couple, should you get therapy together to deal with your issues together? Okay, so we got together, both. And Crystal says, no, deal with your own. Crystal happens to be in my coaching group. So Crystal already knows what I was about to say. All right. The answer is the unofficial answer, because I ain't nobody. I'm not no guru or nothing. But due to the fact that I've been coaching for at least 6, maybe 7 years, the answer is separately. Separately. See, you can't go to marriage counseling or relationship counseling together in the at first, because guess what? You got your own childhood trauma. You got your own personal issues. You got issues with people at work. You got issues with your mama. You got issues with your cousin. You got issues with somebody else asked you for money. You got issues with your friends. You got issues with your coworkers. You got issues with your kids, possibly. You may have mom guilt, or as a man, you may have a form of dad guilt. You going back and forth with your baby mama or your baby daddy. You have so many other things going on in your life that you as an individual have to deal with your own stuff first. Your mate has the same group of 12 different issues going on also. Work, home, kids, how they feel about themselves, their own self-esteem. So the answer is you get help individually first to deal with your own issues, and then y'all come together and work out your issues with the other person. Because if you have issues, because you got to understand, if you and another person, whether it's a friend or whether it's a romantic relationship, you have issues that have nothing to do with them, and you get in a relationship with a person with your issues. Say you're selfish. Say you're condescending. Say you like to talk over people. And then you go into a counseling session with another person that you're in a relationship with, but say that person is manipulative. Say that person loves to blame the opposite sex. Say that person is a gaslighter. Y'all literally are going to be playing the toxic Avengers in the therapy session. Because you're going to be sitting down with the person and they're going to say, so what's going on? Well, let me tell you, she did this and I just want peace. And she's going to be like, well, actually, he can't keep doing this and he won't give me peace. And it's just going to be like two kids arguing about who burnt the toast or who spilled the milk. Because we naturally are going to try to defend our stances. But first, you have to sit down with a therapist so your therapist can get you in line and be like, yo, you are manipulative. You are whatever. And you're going to be like, man, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm listening to you right now. You crazy. Then you turn around and the other person does the same thing. So Meghan is 1000% wrong. And this is the reason why we just going to keep going. So I'm start over just a little bit for those who just came on. Hit the like button, hit a like button, hit a like button. Facebook, if you don't hit the freaking like button, y'all tripping. And share this video.
All right, are we just going to go to the next question?
Ladies, share this video with every woman that you know. Because guess what? The majority of the women that you know, whether in your family, whether they're co-workers or your own friends, they're dealing with the exact same thing right now. You already know y'all cannot get along with each other. But y'all love to blame y'all issues on men. But y'all can't get along with each other. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying. I'm like,
I mean, I said that. I don't feel like we're gonna take a break because she's gonna burn out. She already tired, so it's like if we take a break, we don't really have time for that.
well, let's just stop. Cut it.
Well, you can't focus on something that you avoid.
Well, it's
And
not.
we
It's not.
avoid
It's
each
not
other.
a.
So Meghan says you can't focus on something you're trying to avoid. Okay, that don't really make no sense. But okay.
Avoiding. I feel like healing yourself and doing the self work is to have a healthier relationship. That's
Right.
my opinion.
If there is a marriage, you don't go work on your marriage separately, but you don't separate.
She's the one that was married, and apparently she did it wrong when it came to the therapy side. And I don't know, but the worst thing any man can do is to go to therapy with a damn wife and sit there and deal with a wife sitting there pointing all the fingers at him. He did this, Mrs. or Mr. Therapist, and he can't do this, and he won't listen to me. And now you sitting here like, yo, man, because you already know you ain't finna sit here and you're just gonna shut down. So now you're gonna look like the bad person because you shutting down and she's too you did. Because don't nobody want to deal with that. So no, you do not go to couples therapy or any type of therapy with another person before you go to therapy by yourself.
Is to have a healthier relationship. That's my opinion.
If there is a marriage, you don't go work on your marriage separately, but you don't separate yourself to work on your marriage.
I
Yes, you
feel the
do.
opposite. I feel like a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, we're going to break up, work on ourselves, and hopefully when we come back together, we're healthier and better.
I'm saying once God has identified a purpose, then that's a purpose that comes together.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. This is pure manipulation. And this is what women do. So even though they're just podcasting and besties, I'm okay, for the sake of the argument, okay? For the sake of the argument, I'm going to look at this as Meghan being the woman and B. Simone being a man, just for the sake of argument, because I want y'all to see what women do to men, okay? A man would say, I want to get therapy separately so I could work on myself. And you get therapy separately so you can work on yourself. Here comes the manipulative woman by saying, well, if God gave us a purpose of being together, we got to fix it together. I just said I want to go to therapy by myself. So it ain't like I'm saying I don't want to go to therapy. I said I want to go to therapy by myself. And you go sit here and try. God said, if you don't shut up, I want to go to therapy by myself. I want to work on my own issues, and then we can work on our issues. And you want to sit here and try to manipulate me into doing something I don't want to do? I'm going to therapy. Nah, bro. But this is what women do. You can't do it at the same time, Kim. You can't do it at the same time, Kim. You can't go to therapy with 3 people and then it just you is and it's with 2 people at the same time. So you can't do both. You can't do both. So for Meghan to try to sit here and put God into this, to me, is a form of manipulation. Because as you listen to this, you're going to see that Meghan wants this whole thing to work. And you could say B. Simone doesn't, or you could say B. Simone just wants to go to therapy individually and come back. But trying to tell somebody what they need to be doing and using God in order to justify it is a form of manipulation. Kim said, explain. Explain what? I just explained. You go to therapy on your own first. I just said that. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Hit the like button, y'all.
Marriage, you don't go work on your marriage separately, but you don't separate yourself to work on your marriage.
I feel the opposite. I feel like a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, we're going to break up, work on ourselves, and hopefully when we come back together, we're healthier and better.
I'm saying once God has identified a purpose, then that's a purpose that comes together.
Yeah, you see the manipulation? No, ma'am. We're going to the therapy separately.
Right? What God brings together, let no man tear apart, right? That's biblical.
Okay.
So if he brings that together, you don't go work on that together separately.
You see what I'm saying? You don't tell me what I'm going to do or not going to do. If I say I want to do something, which is healthy, not do something, which is go get therapy by myself, you do not come back and say, well, the way you do it is like this. No, the way you do it is like this. And the reason why you're so adamant at this, because you need me to heal. No, ma'am. You need you to heal. So early on, this right here is narcissistic, and to a certain degree, it's parasitic. Why? It's simple. She's literally saying, without saying it, that I need you to heal myself. Am I right or wrong? She's saying, I need you to heal myself. Because why can't you just go get therapy and meet me back over here after you get therapy, and we'll come back together, and then we'll talk about what my therapist said, and you'll talk about what your therapist said, and we'll come together and probably get therapy together, and then boom. Why are you pushing me to do something I don't want to do? Listen
A
again.
relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, we're going to break up, work on ourselves, and hopefully when we come back together, we're healthier and better.
I'm saying once God has identified a purpose, then that's a purpose that comes together, right? What God brings together, let no man tear apart, right? That's biblical.
Okay.
So if he brings that together, you don't go work on that.
He didn't bring y'all together, ma'am. Did God bring them together? Did God said, you both do a podcast? I have spoken. Did God tell them to do a podcast? Yes or no? Yes or no, y'all? Did God come down and say, do a podcast together? Yes or no, y'all? Because this is the manipulation right here. And what's crazy is the married or the woman that was married seems to have problems dealing with their own issue as an individual, but the person that was never married is on point. But yes or no, y'all? Jessica says no. Did God tell them to do a podcast? Rochelle says, question on what's the point of couples therapy? Okay, Rochelle, let me just say this. There is a point of couples therapy, okay? Two things. This is not a couple. They're friends, all right? That's the first thing. So when you are married, y'all don't have to break up. So I don't agree with B. Simone by saying she used the word break up. Y'all don't have to break up. You just go get a therapist over here, and the other person gets a therapist over here, and spend 3 months, maybe 5 months in therapy by yourselves. And when y'all come home or when y'all come around each other, y'all kind of like share notes and just have a conversation about what y'all therapist said. Do you like your therapist? You know, what, blah, blah, boom, 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 and then keep it going. So there is something called couples therapy, but that usually is when you are already a couple and you're about to get married. See, it's a difference between going to therapy because there's a problem and going to therapy because it's important to do that before you get married. Does that make sense? I'll say it again. There's two types of couples therapy. There's couples therapy for when you have problems and y'all about to split up, so y'all go get therapy. And then the other couples therapy is when you get therapy, it's like premarital therapy when you're about to get married, because you do not get married before you get therapy. Okay. All right. So just want to make sure we all on the same page. Let's keep going.
Together separately. It seemed like once she brought it up, that comes together, right? What God brings together, let no man tear apart, right? That's biblical.
Okay.
So if he brings that
God is not putting together podcast shows, ma'am. This ain't got nothing to do no God.
together, you don't go work on that together separately. It seemed like once she brought it up, then it was like, oh, we need to go to therapy. Then it became a focus.
Yeah.
But prior to it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time just because we have so much coming up together and it's like, let's hurry up and try to fix it?
Hell no. I think it's time because
Y'all hear that, right? Hell no. I'm sick of you or this or something. Did y'all hear that? So you easily see that is a possibility that Meghan has some issues and she has attached herself to her best friend, and her best friend is like, I got to get away from you. And this is what happens to a lot of you women. One woman to have all these man problems, And every time you turn around, she calling you, girl, let me tell you what he did now. You like, yo, man, I'm so sick of this. Why we gotta sit around and talk about your man or your ex or your baby daddy all the time? Because that actually sometimes becomes the actual relationship. And before we keep going, let's do this commercial real quick. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button.
Game is meant to give you and other players deeper discussion card game is meant to give you and other players deep understanding of how we all deal with relationship when or if things get serious. One of the biggest reasons why people break up is because of underlying family issues. This game can be played with either 2 people or an entire group. So have fun.
Question number 1. What is the one thing you wanted but didn't receive when you were young? Name a time when money was the main factor why a relationship went bad.
Deeper Discussions Dating Edition. Again, these cards are good for vetting a potential boyfriend,
Candidate.
a potential girlfriend, a potential husband, a potential wife. It'll even tell you what's wrong with your sneaky link. If you and your sneaky link need to have a conversation, these are the cards. The texture of these cards are so soft and silky, by the way. Like
They ain't gonna get
really
wore out. after you-
durable.
A dating card game for introverts who have a hard time asking the much needed compatibility questions. Deeper Discussions, the card game.
Okay, so back to the video. Back to the video.
Have a
Hit the like
business
button.
together.
That's what I'm
You get what
saying.
I'm saying? Girlfriend, we're gonna
So all B Simone really wants to do, according to what I'm hearing here, is just to do the podcast. But for whatever reason, and we won't break this down, Meghan needs this emotional attachment. And it's potentially or possibly suffocating B Simone. I see that in what's going on.
break up, work on ourselves, and hopefully when we come back together, we're healthier and better.
I'm saying once God has identified a purpose, then that's a purpose that
Manipulation.
comes together, right? What God brings together, let no man tear apart, right? That's biblical.
Okay.
So if he brings that
Ain't got nothing to
together,
do with
we
nothing.
don't go work on that together separately. It seemed like once she brought it up, then it was like, oh, we need to go to therapy. Then it became a focus.
Yeah.
But prior to it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time just because we have so much coming up together and it's like, let's hurry up and try to fix it?
Hell no. I think it's time because we have a business together.
That's what I'm
You get what
saying,
I'm saying?
because we have a business together and it's like,
Not
because
because we have so much coming up, just at the end of the day, we're business partners. So we have to continuously show up as business partners, even if our personal relationship isn't okay.
But we've been
Right.
business partners for over a year.
So once again, B Simone is trying to nicely let her know that, yo, I want to set a boundary. I want to back away. I want to do something different for a minute. And virtually everything B Simone says, here comes Meghan. But how about we do this? Well, no, we shouldn't do this. We should go to therapy together. We should do this. You wouldn't like this at first. Duh. Like I'm suffocating. When a pillow first went on my face, I can breathe. But after another 30 seconds, I can't breathe no more. So that's kind of like how things work, right?
And this separation has been over 5 months.
It's been
and
3
it's
months.
Just, so when were you planning on saying anything? Or were you waiting
I don't know.
for the right time?
Yeah, just waiting till I was moved. And I didn't know what focus on the purpose looked like. Does it mean just continue to show up? Does it mean I don't know what that looks like, you know?
This is probably why they say don't start a podcast with your friends, because, people change their mind. I'm just
You're
saying,
just saying things happen.
well, you changed your mind. You changed your mind about me. You changed your mind.
I changed my mind about how I could handle our friendship.
Are kind of hopeful for, it does.
Ooh, I gotta stop drinking water.
Oh, so this is something I want to show y'all that women do. It's something that B Simone is now doing. So we're gonna talk about that because that's very interesting. It's very interesting. So after they've been talking about this, they've been talking about that, right? And all together, B Simone is setting her boundaries, saying what she's saying, and she's saying it with her chest, like, yo, this is what we doing, and that's it, right? At the end, B. Simone starts playing with something, and I'm just gonna let y'all hear it, because this is a key thing that shows you, as a man or a woman, that you talking too much and the other person is ready to be done. So watch this.
That's what I'm
You get what
saying,
I'm saying?
because we have a business together, and it's like we
Not
have
because
all
we
these.
have so much coming up. Just at the end of the day, we're business partners. So we
And that's all she wants to do, be business partners, right?
have to continuously show up as business partners, even if our personal relationship isn't okay.
She's trying to separate the business from the friendship. All right. B. Simone wants to separate the business from the friendship. And Meghan is like, how do you do that? What are you talking about? Don't you got a supervisor, or didn't you used to have a supervisor at your job? Y'all ain't besties, but y'all can work together. Like, you're not best friends with your coworkers? Who doesn't know how to separate friendship from business? Virtually every last one of us either are entrepreneur and we work with other people, or we have jobs and we work with other people. And these other people are not our friends. Why would that be hard to do? I don't understand. What am I missing? I don't understand, but let's keep going.
But we've been business partners for
So
over a year, and this separation has been over 5 months.
It's been 3 months.
Just, so when were you planning on saying?
she said this separation's been going on for 5 months. She turned around and said it's only been 3 months. So is she accusing Meghan of being dramatic? Listen to this.
Okay.
But we've been business partners for over a year, and this separation has been over 5 months.
It's been 3
and it's
months.
just
And she says it's been 3 months. Like, stop being dramatic. It's only been 3 months. Yo, this is kind of this is very interesting. This is very interesting. Yes, there goes Crystal. Yes, Meghan potentially has regressed. And when you regress, you lose track of time. Brilliant, 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 Crystal.
So when were you planning on saying anything?
Why is it that it's always one person that has no idea what's going on in the relationship? It's always one person that low-key don't even know what's going on in a relationship.
Or were you waiting for the right time?
Yeah, just waiting till I was moved. And I didn't know what focus on the purpose looked like. Does it mean just continue to show up? Does it mean I don't know what that looks like, you know?
This is probably why they say don't start a podcast with your friends.
Uh-oh, listen to this. Listen to her voice. She feels so sad about this. And I can understand, you know, I'm not making fun of Meghan being sad that her friend doesn't want to do a podcast with her, but we have to grow up. Okay? Our friends are not our parents. Our friends are not our siblings. I need to say that again. Our friends are not our parents. Our friends are not our siblings. We don't have to be around each other. It's okay. Like, I got 2 best friends, right? That I've known for over 20 years. We barely talk. We ain't got to be up under each other. They have a party, I have a party or whatever, and I don't get invited or they don't get invited. They're going to be like, yo, why you ain't invite me? I don't know. Like, we're adults. Because here's what's crazy. You have a best friend that you had since high school, And at some point, you grow up and you make new friends. Now, your friend that you grew up with may still be your best friend, but at the same time, guess what? It's okay to have other friends. Lady J, if you want to come on, you got to come over on YouTube. If you want to come on, you got to come over to YouTube. So I'm going to drop the link in a little while. And if you want to come up, you got to come over on YouTube if you want to come up. All right.
Why they say don't start a podcast with your friends.
That's a little heartbreaking. I'm not going to lie. I could see or hear the sadness in her voice. And yeah. And I'm going to explain why I posted this. The body position tells everything. Y'all see this? Look at the picture. The body position tells everything. We're going to talk about that.
You know, people change their mind. I'm just
saying things happen.
Well, you changed your mind. You changed your mind about me. You changed your mind.
I didn't change my mind about you, Megan. I changed my mind about like how close we are. I need some space. We're adults now. Like I don't want you over my house all the time, or I want to be over your house all the time. I need space. What's wrong with that? I just don't understand. But it seems like Megan has an anxious attachment style. We're going to talk about that. And she has an unhealthy attachment to B. Simone.
My mind about how I could handle our friendship.
Are kind of hopeful for, you know, it does.
Ooh.
So right here, you can see this is the indication that a woman is sick of talking to you. Okay. I'm just going to say this again. Yes, Chrissy, the butterfly example, how to take a butterfly home with you. Yes, we're going to talk about that too. So this is an indication that a woman is sick of talking to you about something, right? So listen to what B. Simone does subconsciously. Listen to this.
Changed your mind. You changed your mind about me. You changed your mind.
I changed my mind about how I could handle our friendship.
Now listen to what happens right now. Listen.
Hopeful for, you know, it does.
Ooh. Stop drinking water.
Ooh.
It does feel
see that? Y'all see that, right? Did y'all notice that? Megan is locked in and it's like, I don't understand why this is happening, right? And she's like, help me understand this. Talk to me. And B. Simone is like, oh, what is that? She's thinking about something else. When somebody starts fumbling around with, oh my God, hold on. You know what? I should have made this black. And the other person is like, hey, I want you to understand me. And the other person is like, hey, making noises and stuff. That shows you the conversation is over. And to the men, if you're having a conversation with a woman and she ever starts talking about something else in the background, not talking to somebody, talking about something else in the background, she's sick of talking to you. As an example, you're on a phone with your girl and you're like, yo, I don't understand why we can't spend more time together. And she's like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? You're like, what? No, somebody just tried to jump in my lane. Or, did I just drop this all over oh my God, right? So now what women try to do, I don't know if they do this subconsciously or consciously, they look to, like, what, hold on, what? Oh, my phone's going dead. And you up here like, baby, I want us to get married. I want to do this. You're like, I'm sorry. I just realized my phone is going dead. You're like, what? Why did you say that? This is what women do in order to break the conversation in hopes that her complaining about something random or making a random noise would break the conversation up where you're just like, well, you know what? Let me call you back. So, and women do this all the time. I've had a woman do me like this before. Now listen.
Continue to show up? Does it mean I don't know what that looks like, you know?
This is probably
Yes, Sid. This is a codependent relationship.
why they say don't start a podcast with your friends, because
You see how sad she is? Well, you know they say don't do a podcast with it, and she'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Oh, sorry. You know what I'm saying? One person is locked in, and the other person is like chasing a butterfly somewhere. Listen,
because people change their mind. I'm just
You're
saying,
just saying things happen.
well, you changed your mind. You changed your mind about me. You changed your mind.
I changed my mind about how I could handle our friendship.
Are kind of hopeful
Here you go.
for, it does.
Ooh.
Water.
Just random shit.
It does feel,
Watch this.
there's a human experience that is happening simultaneously, that it's very difficult to navigate through that. So, yeah.
And then when somebody keeps saying, they're like, all right, shut up. Can we listen to the That's I'm not mad at B. Simone. I'm not gonna say that I'm mad at B. Simone, and I'm not gonna say that she's being dismissive, but it is dismissive behavior. Listen. Ooh. Why is you doing that while this woman is like bleeding her heart out to you? Hit a like button, hit a like button, hit a like button. To the new people who just came in, please hit a like button, hit a like button, hit a like button, and share this video with every woman that you know.
Stop drinking water.
Why is you talking about drinking some water while this woman is, why? What's up, Angelina? Why be Simone? Why be Simone? She's over there fumbling with some water while this woman is, but it's hilarious. You hear that, right? She just made a grunting noise while Meghan is literally, why?
Hopeful for, it does.
I'm hopeful for, while B. Simone over there just randomly playing with something.
Ooh. Stop drinking water.
Why? What? Yo, she's so dismissive right here. Is hilarious. She was making grunting noises.
Does feel
Here it goes. She about to be dismissive again. B. Simone is sick of this mess. Watch this.
Yeah.
She like, she's a knocking over shit. Like, what are you doing, ma'am? Why are you knocking over stuff? This is dismissive as hell, y'all. She said, ooh, said something about water, grunted, knocked some over.
There's a human experience that is happening simultaneously.
Here it goes.
That it's very difficult to navigate through that. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we just gonna go?
Okay. So, let me explain what's actually going on. Okay. This is what's actually going on. Podcasting itself, because I'm going to talk about these two, and then we're going to talk about the podcast world itself. Okay. Podcasting itself is very emotional, and it can literally change how you view a person, or it can change who you are as a person. Because everybody wants to say, yeah, let's start a podcast. Okay. You start a podcast with a wrong person, with the wrong people, and your whole life going to fall apart. Be careful. So this is the main reason. It's mainly because you and other people are expected to express how you feel about the other person or about a certain subject over and over and over and over and over again. And when you do a podcast with your friend, it's certain things that you didn't even know that your friend felt. And that's what's possibly going on right here. I don't know how long they've been friends, but I'm sure they've been friends for 10, 20 years. And now they start a podcast together. And B. Simone, because in the beginning, watch how they acting right here.
All right, are we just gonna go to the next question?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying. I'm like,
I mean, I said that. I don't feel like we're gonna take a break because she's gonna burn out. She already tired, so it's.
She already knows she's gonna burn out. So we're going to discuss the body positioning tells you everything right here. So Jimmy James, thank you for the super chat. B. Simone is heartless. She's the same young lady that was charging a fee to followers to see her grieving the death of DC Young Fly's wife. I'm not going to touch on that because I don't know much about it and somebody lost their life. But I can understand how you feel about that, Jimmy James. Like, because I don't know enough about what was going on with DC Young Fly's wife dying, and I don't know. But Jimmy James said B. Simone is heartless. I don't think she's heartless. She's the same young lady that was charging a fee to followers to see her grieving the death of DC Young Fly's wife. Charging a fee to followers. Can anybody explain what do you mean? Jimmy James, can you explain that? You said charging a fee to followers to see her grieving. How do you charge a fee to followers to see you grieving? I don't know. Because that's what I'm saying. I want to speak on that because I don't know what that actually means. So either Jimmy James or somebody else, can you explain what that means? She was charging a fee to followers to see her grieving the death of, I don't understand that. So let me talk about the body positioning right here. Okay. I'm just going to put this on the big screen right here. So look at this. I'm going to turn this down. So hold on. All right. Watch this. Okay. Look at the body positioning, right? First, we're going to look at Meghan's body positioning. Meghan's body positioning is saying, I need help being held up. Okay? I need help being held up. Can you please hold me up? Because I need a lot of support. That's the first thing. B. Simone is leaning into Meghan to hold her up. That is support, right? That is the first thing. The second thing is the holding hands part. Meghan is essentially telling B. Simone, I need you to hold my hand through this whole thing because I'm extremely anxious. I'm scared. I'm confused. And I need you to guide me through this whole podcasting process because I am an anxious attachment style. So the shoulder in the back is hold me up, because if you don't hold me up, I'm going to fall. And the hand holding part is I'm anxious and I need you to not just hold me up, but I need you to be my rock through this process, because without you holding my hand, I'm going to be all over the place. All right. Body language is everything. So now look at the other part. Look at B. Simone. B. Simone is uncomfortable. Meghan's posture is very comfortable. Hold on, I'm sorry. Meghan's posture is very comfortable. But is B. Simone's posture, is it comfortable or is it uncomfortable? Put in the chat. Is B. Simone's posture in this picture comfortable or uncomfortable? My opinion is uncomfortable, and I'm explaining why. Look at her arm, her extended arm. Her extended arm is actually essentially saying, from a body posture, from a body positioning, from a body language standpoint, she needs her own arm to support her. So that means she feels overwhelmed holding Meghan up and holding Meghan's hand to the point where she has to put her hand on her hip to support her. So what this essentially is saying, I don't have anybody holding me up. Therefore, I have to hold myself up and Meghan, and I got to hold Meghan's hand, and there's nobody there to hold my hand. So what I see by this body language is Meghan is feeling like, this is my bestie. I'm good. I'm happy. Everything's good. She has my back. And then she has her back to B. Simone. She has my back, right? But what B. Simone is saying, and even if you look at B. Simone's eyes versus Meghan's eyes, Meghan feels this is what I need. But B. Simone is looking like, I'm alone. I got to hold myself up. I don't have the support that I need to do what I got to do. I am a giver, and I'm getting sick of pouring into other people and nobody's pouring into me. Do y'all agree or do y'all not agree? Do y'all agree or do y'all not agree? Put agree or disagree in the chat. Do y'all agree or do y'all not agree? Yes. The body language shows that B. Simone is stronger than Meghan. The body language shows, because even if you look at the hand holding, right? The arms aren't touching. The hands are just touching, right? So you look at look at the arms. When you are comfortable and you're not stressed, you're going to rest your arm on the other person's arm like that. I know this is awkward because I'm doing it, but when you hold somebody's hand, it rests on the other person's arm. If you look at the arms, they're not touching. Sorry, y'all. If you look at the arms, their arms aren't touching. It's almost where Meghan is holding on to B. Simone, and B. Simone isn't holding on to Meghan. Essentially, it looks like Meghan grabbed B. Simone's hand without B. Simone's permission. Now, it's a simple thumbnail, and they agreed to do the thumbnail, but body language means everything. So one, the two heads. Hold on. So one, Meghan is just like chilling, right? Her head is back. She's good. That shows that she's being supported. Two, B. Simone has Meghan's back, right? She's even holding her head up. Remember, Meghan is like this. Like this is holding my head up. B. Simone is the chair. Who the hell wants to be somebody's chair? right? This is what she's doing. Versus B. Simone being like this, right? So altogether, this is, I'm supporting you, but I don't have anybody to support me. All right. So even with the hand holding, that means to me, it looks forced, not forced, but uncomfortable. Her leaning into Meghan seems like, it's almost like, I'm not going to say this is it, but it's almost like B. Simone is saying, and I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But what's going on in B. Simone's eyes is, yo, I hope this shit works, because if this don't work, I'm gonna do something else. That's what it says to me. B. Simone cannot stand by herself. That's why she's leaning on Meghan. Okay, Sid, I can see that. But the leaning is actually Meghan and not B. Simone. If you're looking at her arm, this arm, Meghan's arm, is pulling B. Simone toward her. So I get what you're saying, Sid, but the actual person that is leaning is not B. Simone. It's Meghan. Meghan is resting on B. Simone. So that's what I see. So I see body position says, hold my hand, I'm anxious. The lean says, hold me up. And B. Simone, with her extended arm, is saying, I'm getting tired of holding you up. Who do I have to hold me up? And that's just my opinion. All right. Where's the other video? So this is part of the other video. Some of y'all may have heard it.
Necessary. It just isn't easy.
You're saying uncertainty as far as where we're standing?
Yeah. It just feels very uncertain.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with like me saying this is how I feel, this is like being very upfront with that?
As far as what?
Our conversations and stuff. Like, do you feel like I'm not clear when we have dialogue on where I stand? Or
I feel like, without trying to divulge too much, I feel like in recent conversations, you've been very clear about wanting a business relationship only.
Right.
So, and I think that that's going to be very difficult to navigate. I just think that conversation is difficult. I don't know how you go from somebody being, such a good friend to, I don't want a relationship with this person anymore.
I'm sorry, this is gaslighting. If a person is setting boundaries, your job as the friend is to respect the person's boundaries. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Your job is to set boundaries, y'all. And when you set the boundaries, the other person has to respect those boundaries. You can't sit around like, well, I just don't understand how we got to do this, we got to do that. I don't care about you understanding. This is what we doing. This is it. Either take it or leave it. You can't turn around and try to dictate how I feel about you and how I feel about my boundaries. This is how women overstep women's boundaries. They start gaslighting you and start making you either feel like you're doing something wrong or either start throwing God in it, like, well, God wants this to happen. If you don't sit down and shut up. So We're about to talk about attachment and detachment real quick. You must have a healthy sense of detachment. Most people never even thought about having a healthy sense of detachment. Is actually what I help women do. I help women detach from other people. Because the biggest problem that women have in particular is one particular thing. They get attached to somebody and they don't know how to unattach themselves or detach themselves, and they start dying inside. That's the biggest thing that I potentially help women do. I help women let go of their childhood trauma and their dysfunctional attachment styles by learning how to find a healthy sense of detachment. All right. So, most people don't necessarily understand the dichotomy of attachment and detachment. Because once you become attached to another person, you literally start ignoring everything that the other person is doing, because you actually subconsciously become that other person. So if you don't understand attachment and detachment, you end up subconsciously becoming the other person. And you can't tell where you start and the other person ends. It's like two people having a house next to each other, and there is an invisible line that you don't like. When you cutting your grass, sometimes you don't know how far over where you end up cutting the other person's grass, right? Because there's no fence, right? So there's always an individual line that you aren't supposed to cross, right? When you cutting your own grass, it won't hurt if you cut the neighbor's grass, but if you go too far over, you're going to be all in the neighbor's yard. And you don't see a line, you don't see a barrier, you just know it's there. So when it comes to people, you have to understand that there's a boundary, even with your kids, with your mom, with your best friends, with your coworkers, with your podcast mates. And when you get attached to another person, you don't see a boundary anymore. You are just them. And this is uncomfortable. And this is dysfunctional. You're supposed to be like this, not like this. You cannot turn around and become the other person. So it's a very good possibility that Meghan has become B. Simone. And B. Simone is like, I don't want to do this no more, or at this capacity. And simply because Meghan is now B. Simone, she doesn't know what to do with herself, because she's like, I'm B. Simone. No, I'm B. Simone. She doesn't know who she is anymore. You know how women be like, oh, I was in my marriage and I lost myself, because you lost your sense of detachment. Okay. I personally teach something called detached observation. Everybody type the word detached observation in the chat, because I want to explain what detached observation is real quick. Type in the detached observation. Type that in the chat, because this is very important. I teach women detached observation. And what that is you start dating somebody, or you go around your family members with the understanding that I am not you. I don't care that you made me. I don't care that we're in a relationship. I don't even care that we're married. I am not you. I am not you. You are not me. All right. And there's a dichotomy that in my coaching group we talk about. Is called, you have to learn how to be part of something while being apart from something. I'll say it again. You become a part of something while simultaneously being apart for something. So you're a part of something, but apart from something. All right. Perfect example. I'm a Rams fan. I'm a diehard Rams fan, right? But we're losing. I'm a part of the Rams fan community, right? But I am now apart from the Rams community because we're losing. I'm not going to keep sitting here looking at a bad product run up and down the field, and that's going to have me mad. It's going to have me all sad and depressed, mad. If y'all are a football fan, you know, especially y'all Cowboys fan, because you know Cowboys let you down every year. We won a Super Bowl, but y'all ain't won nothing. Bengals ain't won nothing either. I don't think Bengals have ever won a Super Bowl, but that's neither here nor there. So detached observation. Oh, an approach to research that employs emotional detachment coupled with limited interaction and the creation of categories for classifying observations. Sid, thank you so much. Shout out to Sid. Look at Sid. Sid came out with a definition. I appreciate that. But overall, I can be a Rams fan and never look at a Rams game. See how that works? It's called detached observation. I'll just look at the score. So the only Rams games I will look at are games that they have won. And how do I do that? Well, I have something called NFL replay. I go watch the replay. So you have to win a game to justify me watching you. Detached observation. I'm still attached to the Rams, but if you don't win, I'm not watching the game. You don't get my attention unless you win the game. You have to earn my attention. I'm not going to sit here and watch you throw interceptions and fumble the ball and lose. I'm not doing it. Detached observation. I will only spend time watching the Rams if they win. The same thing with your family members. The same thing with whoever else is in your life. They have to live up to or earn your attention. If your mama keep acting up, your mama keep overstepping your boundaries, you be like, yo, mom, I love you, but you can't come over my house for a month. Yes, there we go, Chrissy. There we go, Chrissy. I have a standard. There is a standard to get me to watch the Rams. If you live up to my standard, I'll watch. If you don't, I won't watch. I don't watch live games all the time. I watch replays. All right. So that is what detached observation is. And this is how detached observation can work in this situation with Meghan and B. Simone. As we're on the podcast, just say I'm B. Simone, right? I'm sitting back watching Meghan. And if Meghan keeps gaslighting me, if Meghan keeps saying stupid stuff, or Meghan keeps doing A, B, and C, I'm going to be like, back up. Right? And I'll go forward if you live up to what I need you to do. Really simple, right? So we have to have a healthy sense of detachment. But when you get attached to somebody, you actually lose your ability to observe the other person. You stop observing, you stop correcting the other person, and you simply become who you are attached to. See, when you're attached to the other person, you can lose your identity of who you are as an individual. And I think that's what's going on with Meghan. And if y'all break up, You don't know who you are anymore. Listen to this video.
Triggers me more than when I see. There's nothing that triggers me more than when I see a female on a podcast talking about, oh, don't trust her if she doesn't have friends. A girl that doesn't have friends is a red flag. I'm sorry that your relationships, work out well for you, but this is real life. If I would have told you guys what every single one of my friends, what they did to me, every single one of you guys would be in tears. I had every single horrible friend you could think of.
And you're the common denominator. And you're the common denominator. Y'all see that, right? I've had every single friend that you can ever imagine do me wrong. Did they really do you wrong? Or are they just Simoning you? And they're just like, yo, you too toxic, or you too needy, you're too whiny, you're too attached. I got to pull away from you. But this is what women do. It's always, oh, this person did something to me. And this is proof to you ladies. It's not just men. Y'all blame everybody for your issues. Y'all blame everybody for your issues, but you never look at yourself. Why does she hang with them yet? Exactly, Sean. Because she's the actual problem. But this is what women do. They're always victims. Oh, I'm a victim. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button.
There's nothing that triggers me more than when I see a female on a podcast.
There's nothing that triggers me more than putting so much caked up makeup on your damn face where you look like a freaking light-skinned condom.
Podcast talking about, oh, don't trust her if she doesn't have friends. A girl that doesn't have friends is a red flag. I'm sorry that your relationships.
Ladies, just to y'all, I just want y'all to know something. Don't show up on TikTok with all this damn caked up ass makeup on and saying you got fake friends. You're the fake friend. You look like a freaking doll. And I know y'all like looking like little stupid looking dolls, but do not show up on social media talking bad about somebody when you can't even show up as your true self. This woman looks like she needs to be at the trap museum that T.I. got in Atlanta. She looks like a freaking wax figure. But I got all these fake friends. Look at you. I don't trust any woman who wear wigs and makeup. I'm sorry. You cannot call nobody else fake when your ass cannot show up as your true self. It's always somebody else's fault. To the wig wearers and the people with all this caked up makeup. I don't trust none of them because she's lying. Look at her. Looks like a damn wax figure or some shit.
Work out well for you, but this is real life. If I would have told you guys what.
And do you see the little sparkles? Put a one in the chat. Y'all see all the little sparkles as she's talking. She has all this makeup on and she has a filter. Look at the sparkles. Because if you look, it's like little sparkles. Put a one in the chat, you see the damn sparkles. All these lying women running around blaming other people. Y'all don't even like women, let alone men.
Oh,
look,
don't trust her if she doesn't have friends. A girl that doesn't have friends.
Put a one in the chat, y'all see the sparkles.
Is a red flag. I'm sorry that your
a woman that wears all this stupid makeup is a red flag. You ain't got no wig on, which is dope. But why do you have all this mess on? Like what is wrong with our women? That's the red flag.
Relationships, work out well for you, but this is real life. If I would have told you guys,
She said, this is real life. But you're showing up like a sex doll. So what's real life? Because you're not real life. You're not real life. She got the fake baby hairs. This is sad, y'all. Yeah, she looks like a freaking blow up doll. Talking about this is real life. This ain't real life.
what every single one of my friends, what they did to me, every single one of you guys will be in tears.
No, we won't, because we don't care, ma'am.
I had every single horrible friend you could think of.
And you're the common denominator. So I'm quite sure your little horrible friends that you picked think you're also a horrible friend. I'm sure your friends are little Barbie dolls, little people that look like you. So yeah, most likely all y'all ain't got no damn sense.
And for my mental health, for my mental peace, for me to live my soft life, I made a decision to not have friends. I say all of that to say this. It is not a red flag when a woman does not have friends.
She's super pretty though, but is she super pretty? I don't even know anymore. I don't know what the heck these people are. She might not even be a woman. I don't know what the hell is going on. It's crazy. So I can't even say she's pretty because it might not be a she. I'm sorry. When y'all wear all this mess, I don't know who or what y'all are.
Friends. Have you ever thought that she has so much friendship trauma that she'd just rather be to herself? But then you have people like me who have good hearts and
friendship trauma. That means you are a bad judge of character, ma'am. You're a bad judge of character. And all you want to do is sit there with your little makeup on, complaining about everybody else. Oh, they did this to me. I'm sure you do the same thing to men. He did this to me. He's a narcissist. He's a misogynist. Do y'all ever get tired of blaming other people for your problematic life? Shit is crazy.
are really, really good friends, but we have been dealt a bad hand when it comes.
Oh my God. We have been dealt a bad hand. No, you picked a bad hand. Didn't you pick these stupid people to be in your life? Little Barbie doll looking, little sex doll, little blow up doll looking person? Huh? Why? Why do y'all do this? I don't understand.
To friendship, so now it makes us kind of turned off from having friends. I can be alone.
Well, how about you just get therapy? Just like what B. Simone and Meghan Ashley is talking about. How about you just get some damn therapy, ma'am? All y'all want to do is sit around and whine about what somebody did to you. Then y'all want a man to actually want to be with y'all. No way.
I could be single. I could have no friends. I'm good with that. I'm not going to have people in my life.
I don't know this woman, but I bet she ain't got no man either. Or I bet he just smashing, because I'm sorry. If you can't keep female friends, I don't want to be around you. You don't have to have a whole bunch of female friends, but if you ain't got no friends, whether you're male or female, that is a red flag.
Just to have them, to fill in the void of me not feeling lonely. I don't care about that. So let's really stop this narrative, because it's not, it really triggers me. That's not the case for.
Nobody cares what triggers you, man.
We don't really have time for that.
Let's just stop. Cut it. Cut.
Well, you can't focus on something that you avoid.
Well, it's
And
not.
we
It's not.
avoid
It's not avoiding. I feel like healing yourself and doing the self work is to have a healthier relationship. That's my opinion.
If there is a marriage, you don't go work on your marriage separately, but you don't separate yourself to work on your marriage.
I feel the opposite. I feel like a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, we're going to break up, work on ourselves, and hopefully when we come back together, we're healthier and better.
I'm saying once God has identified a purpose, then that's a purpose that comes together, right? What God brings together, let no man tear
She's trying to keep them together for everything.
apart, right? That's biblical.
Okay.
So if he
That's biblical. So let's talk about the podcasting side of this. We talked about the emotional side of this. We're going to talk about the podcasting side of this. So I'm playing a little bit more. We're going to talk about the podcasting side of this. Why is the Joe Budden podcast always breaking up with people and all this stuff? We're going to talk about all that.
brings that together, you don't go work on that together separately. It seemed like once she brought it up, then it was like, oh, we need to go to therapy. Then it became a focus.
Yeah.
But prior to it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time just because we have so much coming up together and it's like, let's hurry up and try to fix it?
Hell no. I think it's time because we have a business together.
That's what I'm
You know what
saying,
I'm saying?
because we have a business together and it's like,
Not because we have so much coming up, just at the end of the day, we're business partners. So we have to continuously show up as business partners, even if our personal relationship isn't okay.
But we've been business partners for over a year. And this separation has been over 5 months.
It's been
and
3
it's
months.
So when were you planning on saying anything?
You see how one-sided this is? B. Simone is sick of this woman.
Or were you waiting
I don't know.
for the right time?
Yeah, just waiting till I was moved. And I didn't know what focus on the purpose looked like. Does it mean just continue to show up? Does it mean I don't know what that looks like, you know?
So the attachment styles, you can easily see right here that B. Simone is an avoidant attachment style and Meghan is an anxious attachment style. And B. Simone is like, I'm out. And here comes the anxious attachment style, grabbing the person's ankle like, no, don't leave. What about this? What about that? And the other person is out. Which easily tells me by just looking at this, because I don't watch their podcast, but just listening to that right there and the body language in that thumbnail, that Meghan most likely, because I don't know, is codependent, and she has attached herself and her identity to B. Simone, and there's a possibility that she is lost without B. Simone. And B. Simone feels the need to separate and detach from this woman, which I think is healthy. But why are podcasts so prone to fall apart? And put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me well, because the thing is saying the connection isn't working. Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear and see me well. Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear and see me well. Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear or see me well on Facebook or YouTube. All right, cool. Just want to make sure. Okay. For those who don't know, we're going to talk about podcasting now. For those who don't know, I am on one of the biggest podcasts in the nation. Tonight's Conversation. All right. Over 3,000 people, I would say 2,000 to 3,000 people are in the stands when we do shows. I got a show coming up with Tonight's Conversation on November 18th. So if you're in Philly, make sure to get your tickets, because you're going to see me and the rest of the cast of Tonight's Conversation on November 18th. All right. Since I am on a huge podcast with a lot of different personalities, shout out to Angelina. Pop up on me in Philly then. Where are the tickets? Go to Tonight's Conversation on Instagram. Tonight's Conversation on Instagram, and go to the link in the bio and you'll be able to see. I don't know if the show is sold out yet, but that's where you go. Go on Instagram, look up Tonight's Conversation, and go in the bio, and you'll see all the places where to get tickets. Okay. We have at least 12 different members of the podcast. Okay. We just left, we were in NYC 3 weeks ago. So already in New York. So it's about 12, maybe more of us, and we travel. And we take different podcasts off because there's so many different dates. But I can easily understand how difficult change can be when it comes to being on podcasts. All right. People on a podcast change, the actual podcast itself changes, and the audience of the podcast can change. All right. And if you as an individual have trouble with change, you're going to have a lot of problems, because change, especially on a podcast, is inevitable. So I want to look at this from a podcast standpoint and not just an emotional standpoint. Now, starting a podcast, growing a podcast, keeping a podcast afloat, dealing with scrutiny from what one of the podcast members said, and because one person's views affects everybody else's views. I mean, how you view the podcast because you're on the podcast. And of course, the biggest part is the money. Oh, the I Am Athlete podcast. That's what I was thinking. So I am athlete. Okay. Some of you know of a couple podcast breakups. So type in the chat, which podcast breakups have you seen? Name a podcast that has broken up that you know about. The ones that I know about is the I Am Athletes podcast. They broke up over money. The Math Hoffa, My Expert Opinions podcast. They broke up. And the Joe Budden podcast, actually broke up also. So what has happened is, My Expert Opinion, the guys that were on My Expert Opinion, 3 of them are now doing the Bag Fuel podcast. Shout out to the Bag Fuel podcast. Shout out to my guy Esso. I know him personally. They broke up over money, most likely. Well, from what I've seen, money. The Joe Budden podcast, Rory and Mal split up with Joe, and then they started the Rory and Mal podcast. In my opinion, well, when it came to Rory and Mal versus Joe, it wasn't just money from what I see. I think Joe really wanted to see Mal build his own platform, do something bigger than just being on the Joe Budden podcast. And it seemed like, kind of like Meghan with B. Simone, Mal from the Joe Budden podcast was possibly way too dependent on Joe Budden, and it made Joe Budden feel like, start your own platform, do something over here, and then Mal just didn't want to do nothing, and because of money, because a lot of different other things, they end up splitting up. So when you're on a podcast, your number one job is to continue to build, because there's a possibility that you can either break up or either get kicked off and you got to start your own podcast, or you got to do this, or you got to do that. One thing with me, no matter what podcast I'm a part of, I do my own thing. Just like this. This is my own thing. This is just me and myself. I don't owe nobody. The only person I owe is taxes, but I don't owe nobody nothing. Because I believe in building my own personal brand, and I can be a part of other people's brand, but my brand comes first. All right. So Rory and Mal, they left partly because, to me, it seemed like Joe got sick of Mal kind of like just depending on Joe for everything. And it's a possibility that kind of happened with Meghan and B. Simone. When you see your podcast partner not working as hard as you, Mal versus Joe. Joe, his work ethic is through the roof. Mal, his work ethic is like here. Not here, but here. Versus Joe, right? And I think that got up under Joe's skin. And in my opinion, Mal was a little bit too dependent on Joe, and he needed him to go do something on his own, which they actually went and did. So the bottom line is, when it comes to anything that you're doing on social media, you have to make sure that you are your own individual. You can't run around riding on somebody else's coattail. My guy Ace Metaphor, he not only has 1 million followers on Instagram, but tonight's conversation has 1 million followers. My guy Ace Metaphor, multi-millionaire, he's killing it out here. But guess what? I'm not ever going to ride on his coattail. I have to do my own thing. So I'm doing my thing, Ace is doing his thing, and we come together and have a brand in itself. But I have a brand and he has a brand. You can never lose yourself in another person. Okay? You can never lose your brand in another person's brand. It's very important, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a podcast. You have to always work on yourself or work on your brand. So I'm looking at this as an individual, and I'm looking at this as a podcaster. If I was on Joe Budden's podcast, I would still be doing this. If I was on Joe Rogan's podcast, I would still be doing this, unless there's some rule that I signed that says I can't do A, B, and C. But altogether, I'm always going to build my platform away from another platform. Why? Because it's the same thing emotionally. I'm not going to build a woman up and ignore my own needs and wants. Does that make sense? Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. So even whether it's podcasts or whether it's individualism, you have to make sure that you pour into yourself. Because just like what's going on with Meghan and B. Simone, Meghan is almost literally begging this woman to stay. And the answer is no. Go build your own stuff. It will come back. She literally says it right here. She literally says it right here.
Let's just stop. Cut it. Cut.
Well, you can't focus on something that you avoid.
Well, it's
And
not.
we
It's not.
avoid each
It's
other.
not avoiding. I feel like healing yourself and doing the self work.
See? Same thing that Joe Budden said to Mal. I feel like building your own brand instead of worrying about my brand, build your own brand is the same thing as what she's saying. Healing yourself instead of worrying about us is the same thing.
Is to have a healthier relationship. That's my opinion.
If there is a marriage, you don't go work on your marriage separately. But
See, this is the problem. Meghan and Mal possibly feel the need to build their brands or build themselves using another person. You can't do that. That's not healthy. That's attachment issues versus love or being in a relationship. I can't build you up more than you build yourself up first. I need a woman to have her own entity, her own identity before I come around. I don't want to come in and make a woman. No, you build me up and I'll build you up. But you're not going to make me and I'm not going to make you. Because at some point, it's going to turn into a codependent relationship. I ain't got time for that.
But you don't separate yourself to work on your marriage.
You do separate yourself to work on your marriage. You go and get individual counseling. You do separate yourself in order to work on your own brand, because you got to have your own brand apart from somebody else's brand. I love tonight's conversation, but I got to do me. I can't turn around and just allow my brand to fall apart because I'm on tonight's conversation touring across the country. No, ma'am, no, sir. I got to do my own stuff too. What's up, Shan? Shan, we supposed to be doing something together, bro. Like, hit me up.
Feel the opposite. I feel like a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, we're going to break up, work on ourselves, and hopefully when we come back together, we're healthier and better.
I'm saying once God has identified a purpose, then that's a purpose that comes together, right? What God brings together, let no man tear apart, right? That's biblical.
That's biblical. No, ma'am. God did not tell y'all to get on this podcast together. And I'm sick of people trying to gaslight other people. It's kind of sad.
Okay.
So if he brings that together, you don't go work on that together separately. It seemed like once she brought it up, then it was like, oh, we need to go to therapy. Then it became a focus.
Yeah.
But prior to it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time just because we have so much coming up together and it's like, let's hurry up and try to fix it?
Hell no. I think it's time because we have a business together.
That's what I'm
You get what
saying,
I'm saying?
because we have a business together and it's like,
Not because we have so much coming up, just
What I'm hearing is Meghan is draining B. Simone's energy. And B. Simone is tired of possibly holding her up along with Meghan. And she's tired. And as the other person, you have to respect a person's tiredness. Take a break. It's okay. But when you got a codependent relationship and you have an insecure attachment problem, you have an anxious attachment problem, it's only going to get worse. Amber says there's no love. Well, there is self-love. What if B. Simone loves herself? Is it wrong for B. Simone to love herself more than she loves Meghan? Come on, Amber. What do you think? But I do agree, friends can drain you. Yeah. You can't allow your bestie to turn around and drain all of your energy. No. I told you I got two best friends that I grew up with. We don't talk every day. We don't talk every week. I know where they at. They know where I'm at. We come together, hang out whenever we do. But I ain't got time to be up under no dude. I don't operate like that. But yeah, people need to work on themselves. But they don't want to work on themselves. They want to work on themselves by being with somebody. Because what's crazy is some of y'all don't even want to be single, mainly because you feel safer and less toxic being in a relationship, even if the relationship is toxic. Some of y'all would rather be in a toxic relationship than be by yourselves, because the toxic relationship takes your attention off of you and has you looking at the other person. And now you can blame the other person for all of your issues. But when you ain't got no man, you ain't got no woman, you can't blame nobody but yourself. That's the reason why so many of you are single, or so many of you stay in bad relationships. Exactly. And I don't know if that's the case, but I can only assume that's the case. But the best thing I can do for y'all to help you avoid situations like this, of course, is buy my card game. Because at the end of the day, thank you, Deborah. Because at the end of the day, this game is for friends. This is for siblings. This is for mother-daughter relationships, father-son relationships, and of course, dating and marriage. Buy your card game before, I'm not going to say before it's too late, but Christmas is coming up. You're looking for a card game to buy somebody else, go pick you up 3 card games so you can boom, 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 drop card games off. An easy thing to wrap, easy thing to ship if it's somebody in another city. You ain't got to spend no extra money. So instead of buying your friend or your cousin or whatever an outfit that might be $130, spend $28 and buy the person something that can actually help them. Deeper Discussions card game. The link is under this video. The link is over this video. There's a shop button on YouTube where you can just hit the shop button. And of course, the link is in the chat. I'm about to order one of them, fam. We love family games. Appreciate you, brother. The link is everywhere. There's a shop button under this video, or either click the link in the chat. And like I said, get you about 2 or 3 of them and give them out for Christmas. But I will talk to y'all later. I am out. I just wanted to touch on this because I think it was very interesting. I didn't want to get into women's business, but this wasn't women's business. This was podcasting business. This was interpersonal business. Don't want to wait till the holiday to give a gift. Buy it now. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. I'm in. All right. Everybody, click the link. Click the link before I go. Click the link before I go. The link to buy the card game is in the chat. Click the link. Click the link before I go. With all that being said, talk to y'all later.
Discussion card game is meant to give you and other players deep understanding of how we all deal with relationship when or if things get serious. One of the biggest reasons why people break up is because of underlying family issues. This game can be played with either 2 people or an entire group. So have fun.
Question number 1. What is the one thing you wanted but didn't receive when you were young? Name a time when money was the main factor why a relationship went bad.
Deeper Discussions Dating Edition. Again, these cards are good for vetting a potential boyfriend,
Candidate.
A potential girlfriend, a potential husband, a potential wife. It'll even tell you what's wrong with your sneaky link. If you and your sneaky link need to have a conversation, these are the cards. Actually, these cards are so soft and silky, by the way. Like
They ain't gonna get
really
wore out.
durable.
A dating card game for introverts who have a hard time asking the much needed compatibility questions. Deeper Discussions, the card game.